Polls on Donald Trump's plans on illegal immigration. Fair and balanced debate on this next.
We have to establish borders and we have to build a wall. We have to build a wall. We have to. And we will. And it'll be a great wall. It will be a great wall.
What about that? Have a listen here. Roll it.
This is what I call a real supporter. Are you married? Are you happy with your husband? She said yes. She fantasizes that he's really the real Donald Trump. Can you believe it?
No. It's like Halloween. That was in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. And as that's happening, new polls talk about a majority of Americans agree with the Republican frontrunner when it comes to immigration. But there are clear divisions between the parties. Ed Rollins, campaign manager for Ronald Reagan, 1984. Joe Trippi, Howard Dean, campaign manager, 2004. Both are Fox News contributors. Gentlemen, good day.
Good morning.
We brought you in to talk about the whole immigration deal, but just quickly a comment on what we just saw. Ed, you start. There is no one like him on the trail. And that's why his supporters like him.
Well, he doesn't make a joke out of the whole process. He basically he's entertaining people, and he's true to himself. And I think to a certain extent, there's no embarrassment in Donald Trump.
Joe?
No, there's no one else that's going to put a look-alike up on the stage like that. I mean, that Donald Trump does politics his way, and it's not like any of the politicians. That's what is so attractive about him to many.
So we went out to try and figure out what Americans are feeling. And, you know, he's leading in many ways this whole debate on immigration in America today. So as it relates to Trump, as it relates to American policy, here's the question. What best describes your feelings on identifying and deporting millions of illegal immigrants? 41% say that is smart, Ed. 30% say it is silly. About a quarter say it is wrong. What do you make of that?
Well, I think Trump has driven this issue from the beginning. This has been his foremost issue. It's a very critical issue in Iowa and has been for a long period of time. Obviously, the country is split on it as we get into further discussion of the polls. But he's on top of this issue. It's his issue. He owns the issue. And I think to a certain extent, that's what's given a lot of the boost that he's got so far.
Joe, in this 41% say it's smart. What's moving on this? What are people feeling on this?
Well, I mean, the one thing is there's still a split within that. Many more Republicans think it's smart. There's a chunk that thinks it's silly. But more Democrats think it's silly. And I mean, so you have this sort of split where Trump is really not only just setting the agenda but in the Republican Party right now, but where the voters are. Where Republican voters like these two positions. They like them far better than the rest of the country does. And as Ed says, it's a sort of a 50-50 split nationwide. So in the general, Democrats are going to have to make the case that it's silly. But right now, it's overpowering in the Republican nomination fight. That's why Jeb Bush and Rubio, people path to citizenship or it's an act of love, are having so much trouble getting any traction.
That's why so many Republicans have moved towards securing the border first. And on that topic, we asked this question. Build a wall along the U.S.-Mexico border. 50% favor that, 47% are against that. But keep it on screen here. Democrats, almost 70%, Ed, say no. Republicans, 71% say yes, they favor it.
Those who favor this issue, it's a kind of issue that you're going to go vote on. I mean, I think a lot of the Trump support from the beginning has been this, and it shows strength from his perspective. Someone like Marco Rubio, who had a thoughtful position, Jeb Bush, who had a more thoughtful position earlier on, have sort of been washed away. And at the end of the day, what I think this poll shows is the long-term, complicated issue that's going to be difficult to resolve.
Joe?
I agree with Ed on this. I thought it would be fought out in the Republican nomination fight, but so far it's one side is winning, and that's Trump, Carson, Cruz. The more thoughtful, the people I fear that could broaden out the coalition among Republicans just aren't particularly on this issue with Hispanics, just aren't doing that well.
Joe, did I see Hillary Clinton yesterday apologized for using the phrase illegal immigrant? Did you catch that?
I didn't catch it, but most Democrats talk about it in terms of undocumented workers and avoid illegal immigrant. And I don't know if she did or didn't. I didn't see that.
Ed, where do you think this is going? I mean, 14 months from now.
Well, 14 months.
How significant is it?
Well, the interesting thing is, and I think part of this has affected the poll, is the crisis that we have, obviously, after Paris, the worry about Syrian immigrants. It's almost a security issue as much as anything else. And it's not that anybody, I think, is anti-immigrant as much as they are pro-security and want to make sure this country is protected. I think the critical thing here is there's mixed results in this poll. People who are for the wall still at the same time want the 11 million who are here to have an ability, if they're working, to get visas or to basically have a path to citizenship. That's totally contrary to what ordinary people would think. But I think to a certain extent it shows that the debate is going to be a long debate and not be resolved in this campaign.
Thank you, Ed. Thank you, Joe. We'll talk again next week, okay, gentlemen? Ed Rollins, Joe Trippi, appreciate your time
Happy
today.
Thanksgiving.
And to
Good
you
to be
as
with
well.
you. Happy Thanksgiving.
Get a drumstick, okay, men?
Absolutely.
There's room inside
Absolutely.
both of you for that, I'm
I
sure.
appreciate it. For two, for me.
Right on.
Find room, right?